So, I want to talk to you guys about media bias and the story of Kermit Gosnell. Now, Dr. Kermit B. Gosnell, he was a women's healthcare practitioner for most of his life, and when it was legal, he performed abortion services. Now, many of you know that if any of you, were a doctor who performed abortion services, you could expect to receive a certain degree of harmful letters in the mail and emails. They're threatening, and you can expect to get a few death threats, maybe a few bomb threats called in on your clinic. Stuff like that might actually seem par for the course. But what you might not realize is those who are pro-life and staunchly so, they don't just stop at the crossing the line into harassment. No, they actually are very diligent in launching investigations into women's health care clinics that provide abortion services. And they are like pit bulls. They don't let go, right? So, if you were to pull up the Wikipedia article on Kermit Gosnell, you would find a litany of things that were found about his clinic. Now, of course, different abortion pro-life activists share the information that they glean from their own attacks on abortion clinics. So the litany that you're getting there is so thorough because somebody is keeping tabs on everything that's ever happened to this doctor. Now, if you were a more discerning reader, you might look at Kermit Gosnell's Wikipedia article and realize this was written from the point of view of somebody who was pro-life, and basically as a condemnation of Kermit Gosnell's life, not anything about his upbringing or was he a star on the baseball team when he was in college. No, none of that. This is just everything he's ever done wrong, ever. Anytime he got a parking ticket, we're going to list it, right? Things as little as he got a fine because the refrigerator that he saved some vaccines in was not at the right temperature, and so he got fined for it. And pretty much because once a pro-life activist finds a route to manipulate the system to put a lot of pressure on a doctor at a women's healthcare facility that provides abortion services, they're going to use that, and they will approach the healthcare inspectors personally, right? And they will make a rapport with these people, and they will try to feed them information, and try to push them into inspecting a little bit harder, looking a little bit deeper, and push them with a moral conviction, sometimes religious, many times, most times religious, but they will push them to make it their own personal vendetta against these doctors. So whereas you might see malpractice suits against doctors in many different professions as a normal thing, you're going to find violations against women's health care facilities that provide abortion care at an enormous rate. Because the people who are reporting and the people who are inspecting want to find a lot wrong with them. They don't want to give them a pass. They don't want to write them just a warning. They want to fine them. They want to suspend them. And so when I see the criminal history of Kermit B. Gosnell, I do see it as being trumped up. You know, I see it as being in 36 years, he had 42 different lawsuits. You know, why would a medical board let somebody have a practice when they have more lawsuits than they have years in practice after, 30 so odd years? Why would the medical board not just strip them of their license? Well, because the medical board understands that many of these lawsuits are coming from the point of view of, we need to launch these lawsuits against abortion doctors, doctors that are providing abortion services, so we can shut down abortion services, period. The law's not working for us because we don't want abortions at all, so we're going to have to, sling as much mud as possible at these particular doctors. And that's why, medical boards will look at those particular doctors and realize, all of these lawsuits are pretty much an attempt at removing women's rights to choose in a backdoor way. And so they will come up with really, really disgusting stories, and they will try to tug at the heartstrings of people and say, there was a worker that worked for Kermit Gosnell, and he reported snipping the spines of babies' necks, over 100 times as a standard procedure, right? And they love to use the snipping, cracking of necks, and get really graphic with that, because they're trying to really condemn this man for offering services to women. I would ask everyone to just put Kermit Gosnell's name into your Google search engine and look at the perspective of every person who's ever written about him. Then go ahead and look at his Wikipedia article and look at the perspective from which that is written. And realize that today, a man was convicted of murder because he chose a profession where he was trying to offer services which are still legal here in America, but some people think should not be. And so they vilified him. And for 36 years, Kermit Gosnell kept his clinic open and kept receiving all the shit that was thrown at him. More lawsuits than he had years in practice. Okay? More than one lawsuit a year. Mostly fueled by pro-life advocates who they want to shut down any clinic any way they can. This is why any doctor that's performing abortion services might perform them at a different location than the women's health care clinic itself, and then not want their name being known, even by the patients themselves. They will want a screening doctor, a doctor who already knows that he's going to get shit for the rest of his life. But then the actual doctor who performs it might be somebody else, because the screening doctor just goes through the first few appointments and make sure that it's not actually a pro-life activist who's trying to infiltrate to find out the names of the doctors. This is why they have to go through so much. It's because the pro-life side is so bent on this backdoor way of depriving people of something that is their right. Right now it is your choice. That is the law, and they can't accept that. And so they're not just fighting in the legislature, where they've lost time and again. They're fighting in this way that is just despicable. And now, Kermit Gosnell can't defend himself, can't go in and change his own Wikipedia article, and they're just going to make him a monster, And all he ever did was provide women with health care services that they are legally entitled to receive. I'm done.